Hey everybody, it's Bust with Battles with Bust number 269, and today we're doing battle with Leona Katarina. And so, the various Leona decks have really started to make a rise since we caught the hotfix patch that came out and nerfed the likes of Aatrox and Vayne. It's probably just the absolute best set of mid-rangey cards in the format right now. And so one thing I did want to kind of show and call out before we really get started into the games today, I was looking at the meta report over on runeterra.ar. This is the place where I first kind of caught wind of the Leona deck. I didn't really see people talking about it on Twitter. I didn't really see too much of it on the ladder, but it was really a ridiculous looking meta report 2 or 3 days ago. We played a couple of Time Winder gauntlets, so we kind of missed out on a little bit of this, but it's really started to skyrocket up. And I believe like 2 days ago, if you looked at the past 2 days report, the top decks were like Leona Fiora, Katarina Leona, Leona Aurelian Sol, Leona Gwen. Like it was literally like maybe 5 of the top 7 decks were all Leona decks. And I was like, oh shit, well, I guess we gotta, I guess we gotta take a bit of a peek at this and see how it's working out. And so we took it into the Time Winder gauntlet. Had a pretty good time with it there. I've been grinding this quite a bit on the ladder over the past few days, and I've been having quite a bit of success with it there as well. And so, in general, this is a deck that you're just trying to slam a bunch of stats into your opposing units. Your Solari Soldiers and Crimson Pigeons are bigger than all the other 1-drops in the game. The Solari Shield Bearer is bigger than all the opposing 2-drops in the game. Sun Guardian is just a 3/4 for 3, which is a good deal, but then threatens to be bigger than a lot of the 4s and 5s and 6-drops of the game. And then Ravoon and Leona are just big stat monsters. And so in my experience in coming from a history with Magic, this is what I would just call a Tarmogoyf deck, right? Tarmogoyf is one of the just most efficient units in the game. In Magic, for a long time, you're spending 2 mana on like a 4/5, or at the late game it would be a 6/7. And it was just a fantastically powerful creature that I just hated playing. I could accept that the card was good, but I just didn't like playing a bunch of cards that didn't do anything. And that's what I've always kind of felt about Leona, is I never really liked anything that these cards did that just put a bunch of stats on the board and they didn't really do anything. But, you know, one of the things that helps you get better at these games is you do have to kind of come in and reevaluate things every once in a while, and the Leona here is quite strong in a lot of these combos that it has. And so the interactive abilities that we're going to have come from the likes of the Solari Sunhawk and the Leona. They set up a lot of these really good turns to where we're either denying an opponent one really good attack into us, or we're having a lot of game closing turns to where we say have a flipped Leona on the board, we play the Solari Stunhawk, get 2 stuns, and then the opponent doesn't have enough blockers to stop all of our giant units. And so I've been pretty happy with all of those aspects to the deck. In terms of the unit selection, the one thing I will say is I'll occasionally feel like we just don't have enough value. And I've been kind of tossing around between including the 3-cost Daybreak person that invokes a bunch of stuff, and I just haven't been really happy with it. But the Twilight Protector is where I have kind of fallen in terms of the problems I'll have with this deck are on turn 2, we will just not really have anything good to do. Right, you'll have a hand to where you maybe had a 1-drop on 1, but then on turn 2, your only play would be like a Sunhawk, and it just doesn't feel very good. So the Twilight Protector fits in there, and then it also kind of replaces playing something like Reveler's Feast. Typically, you see people playing the Noxus version of this deck running Reveler's Feast. I just don't think that it is a particular necessity. And so we are playing the Twilight Protector, just a touch of interactivity with the Brutal Skirmish, and then otherwise we're really looking to pull off these big aggro draws. And so if you haven't caught wind of this deck, a lot of the nice things you can do are going to, again, have this really big set of 1-drops between the Legion Rearguard, the Solari Soldier, and the Crimson Pigeon. It's not unreasonable to be attacking for 9 damage on the second turn of the game, and then once you're able to attack for that big chunk of damage, one attack with a Sunhawk stunning an opposing unit into a Decimate is often enough to just close out the game. And so as these Leona decks kind of come around, this is going to be the most aggressively oriented of them. And it's looking to take advantage of these big one-drops, the Crimson Pigeon, and some of these early game high-powered plays to just kind of steal games that we don't deserve, but then still have a lot of late-game power between Leona, Ravoon, and Katarina. And so the last thing I will say about these decks before we jump into the games, this is a concept I talk about extensively and likely excessively in terms of decks like this with Leona, as to where you have to either be able to overwhelm, you have to be able to rally, or you have to be able to elusive. And elusive is a little bit challenging to pick up. But as you encounter all of these various Leona decks on the ladder, or play them on your own, or go and build out your own decks, you have to have these kind of ideas in mind. And here we're going with the rallies. That's what Katarina brings us. But if you look towards the Aurelian Soul version, it's going to be playing rallies like Golden Aegeus. If you look towards the Diana or the Aphelios versions, they're going to be playing the Winding Light. They also have access to typically have access to something like Atrocity because they tend to play a bit of Shadow Isles in there. But you have to kind of keep in mind that you can't just generate this giant board of Leona and Ravoon and two big Sun Guardians and then expect to deal damage. You have to have either the Rally or the Overwhelm to come in and close out these games, and that's the big power that we're seeing out of Katarina. And so, this is the deck. That's what we'll be doing battle with today. You know what we have to do before we jump in. We got to pay the pay-to-win price. And I've been, kind of up in the air on this one. I've been kind of like, maybe this like corrupted skin isn't too bad. Maybe it's not too scary. But I have a feeling. I have these feelings on occasion. I'm right on occasion. I'm wrong more often than not. But I have a feeling that Leona is probably going to make it through the upcoming patch unnerfed, and I feel like she is going to be a dominant member of the upcoming seasonals tournament. And so I feel pretty good. If we're going to be playing a bunch of Leona, we should probably go ahead and just get this nice looking skin, the Battle Academia version. She's striking fear into her classmates' hearts, one flipped tray at a time. Looking pretty good here. Nice and happy kind of pictures, I don't want to be playing these scary looking corrupted ones. I got to get the happy ones in here. And look at this. You got the double Battle Academia with the Katarina Leona. Looks like an unbeatable combo to me. Let's go ahead and jump on into battle. That's so good stuff. Good stuff. Nothing wrong with playing a Legion Rearguard. That's my favorite thing about this deck. You get to play the best card in the game in Legion Rearguard. Ooh, always feels so good to come in and attack with this early game bro. And this is one of the points here that I mentioned as we were jumping into the games. This is a draw that can deal 9 damage on the second turn. We're going to play the Saboteur, the Rearguard, and the Pigeon. Ideally, opponent's not going to have fantastic blocks in here. As we're up against Jinx Lulu, it's very likely opponent does have a block, but this is just like a super punishing draw if the opponent isn't able to interact with us very well. As you can imagine, say we're just playing some kind of grindy, mid-rangey style deck. Ooh, wow. Ooh, that was interesting. Very surprised that he just gave us the free kill on the thing, whatever that was called. The free kill on the Flame Chompers. Interesting. Got Kitty up here too. Had Kitty jump up. We'll say what up as we're waiting on Bob141 here. Says, what up, Internet? What up, YouTube? Get some sniffs. I'm glad to hang out. All right. Into battle. And so we're going to lose 2 units here, but we should get to deal 4 damage to the opponent and clear out their board. It can be very important clearing out the board against these Jinx Lulu decks, as they want to hit us with the Biggle Dust. And so if you want to stop and do a little bit of mathematics, if you have 2 units on the board and play Biggle Dust, you're probably giving out +2/+2. If you have 6 units on the board, you're giving out at least +6/+6. You know what's better than giving out +2/+2? You nailed it. Giving out +6/+6 is better. And so, if we can come in and clear out these units, it just gives us a little bit of an advantage, a little bit of a boost. Ooh. And say, I fully suspect him to trade in with our 1 health units and then let the Pigeon kind of hang out. Interesting. Zonite Urgent stays at home. Sounds good to me. It's very tough for this opposing deck to produce units that are bigger than what we're doing. Like, if he comes in with Lulu and then discards Flame Chompers to the one cost discard thing, I guess you got us. But this is just going like fantastically well. Opponent is being overly aggressive, and we're gonna hopefully just take advantage of this board. Brutal Skirmish makes me feel a lot safer. The only thing that we really have to be worrying about here, I think, is Jinx coming in and causing some problems. Getting the removal spell feels kind of nice. So this is one of the kind of minor combos you're going to see across the day with this deck, is using the Crimson Pigeon in conjunction with the Solari Shield Bearer and the 1-drop, whatever it is. You get to take away that point of health that they're going to lose anyways. And so it's kind of a nice way to preserve the strength of your units. All right, mark it a W for bust. Head on into the next battle. Cat's just licking me. What are you doing? I know what it might be. When you go and take a shower, you know, and you run out of body wash, you got to do something. You got to use something, right? And so today we freshened up with the wife's body wash, and so instead of the standard man scent, whatever flavor of man scent I'm usually sporting, out the window today, I ran out of body wash, and so this is a nice champagne toast flavor, as I read on the label. It smells like bubble gum. Yeah, I'm not hype about it. I'm not real amped about it, but it's what we got. And so here, there is kind of an argument to not start with the Legion Saboteur. It dies to a lot, but this is the removal that I'm mainly worried about here in Quietus, and ideally we'll get to protect some of our higher valued units from Quietus. I don't think we see like tons of group shots coming out of decks like Darkness anymore, and so hopefully it's not gonna punish us here in the future turns. So it's like a little bit more dangerous in the sense that if they're playing weird stuff like Go Hard and Group Shot, then they can kill our 1-cost unit. But if they're specifically gonna quiet us on the first turn, I would prefer to have our Crimson Pigeon. All right, let's see what we pick up. A bit of an awkward turn, but the Sun Guardian comes in and makes everything better. We didn't really want to lead off with just a Sunhawk and then follow up with Pigeon. You don't want to play just Pigeon. Kind of an awkward turn without a decent draw in here, and the Sun Guardian was just perfect. Sure. Get in there, fam. That's good. You know, we didn't really get to chunk in any damage, but we're starting to build up a pretty heavy board here. An opponent will start to struggle with some of these dudes that we have. He doesn't have access to... if he doesn't have access to like the higher damage Darknesses, he can't really take down the Sun Guardians or the likes of Ravoon. And so what we're going to look to do here, I want to get our Ravoon on the board and still have some mana banked up for a Pale Cascade. We could have looked on the previous turn to play the Pigeon and then Pale Cascade into a block from the Catalyzer, but that feels kind of meh to me, right? It leaves our Sun Guardian at risk. It's getting lower and lower in health. And now as this turn, you know, kind of comes around, opponent's like, oh, fuck, I really need to vengeance this Ravoon because he's starting to get out of hand. And he's just going to get absolutely domed in damage. So, looks good. I like it. I have noticed in a lot of these Darkness-style decks, they seems like they're playing more Mini-Morphs these days than Vengeances, and that works for me in this situation as we're playing these much more aggressively oriented decks, still just having the big aggressive dude on board. It's kind of nice. Coming in with something. What's that? The box? It's going to kill our Ravoon. Let's play this protective. That just does not work, does it? oh yeah, it does. It's 3 and 3. I started looking at the Rogue Maker's health, and I saw the 4, and I was like, oh, that was a 4 plus a 3. That equals a 7. We're going to lose our Ravoon, but not quite the case. Not quite the case. Let's do this. Let's just go ahead and bring in the Leona. Gonna keep Dum Dum from attacking this turn. Maybe we'll get a stun on it next turn as well. And then as long as we aren't running into a Ruination, then we should be pretty good to get pretty close to lethal with our collection of Nox and Fervors. A lot of burn coming out of the old hand. A lot of burn. So we killed our Ravoon. Kind of sucks. It would be nice to get multiple Daybreaks on the round, but we'll be okay here. No complaints on what's happening. I mean, depending on how he spends his mana, we may realistically find ourselves Nox and Fervoring a Spiderling just to get that extra damage in. Probably can't bring myself to do that. It's looking good enough hitting for 15 with the Leona hook into the Spiderling and the double Fervor in hand. Okay. So where are we at? Bird into bird. Let's bring a little something like this. We're not going to hit for 15. We're going to hit for 8. Take him to 12. Okay. Got this big 3 damage darkness. Look out. Look out. Let's just go ahead and take down the unit. I think that's going to be the the safer route. We might have to grind this a little bit longer, but this is exactly the kind of moments as to where we're like, that's why you want the rallies. That's why you want the overwhelms. As we ran our 7 attack unit into a 1/1 and couldn't quite get into burn range. So it's real. It's real, you know. I think we're going to be good and safe here, especially if we pick up a I had something in mind. I was looking for just another Daybreak unit. There we go. I don't really want to have to Morning Light Leona next turn, but if we get to just stun off the unit and have our big board ready, should be primed and ready for that victory.
For the wicked, for the dead, I bring rest.
Can't attack with Senna, bro. Decimate. Okay. Let's activate old Leona here, drop the stun onto Senna, and then hopefully we can just close out the game with the attack and the burn. And one more unit would have been pretty nice. If we could have played the Daybreak unit and then fished out another stun with Leona. All right. Well, this looks pretty safe. He doesn't have the Vengeance or the Minimorph to shut down our Leona. All of our units get those nice stat boosts. We'll stun out the Senna. We got 9 damage on board between the Sun Guardian and the Soldier. So if we hook whatever he plays out of combat with Leona, should be able to finish things off with Decimate. Battle Academia Leona doing Battle Academia things. Oh, he gets this at fast speed? Oh shit. That's a problem. I was expecting to just end this game with the Decimate. Now we have a real potential Senna problem. That one's on me. I didn't realize he was going to be able to come in and do removal. Would have been a little bit better to take her out of combat. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Opponent's starting to bring the nasties out here. He's definitely going to drop a darkness, probably on Leona, attack with Senna, drop in another one. This one might have got out of hand since we didn't kill her. That's on me. We should have definitely won this game. We're still in it. We can still take this down, but... Interesting. The downside for opponent is we can potentially just say line up like Sun Guardian in front of Senna. He gets the free takedown on it with the spell, but then we get to protect our Leona. And that's probably too sketchy. His darknesses still aren't big enough to kill the Sun Guardian. Sad day. So let's just go ahead and drop in the Decimate. We don't have to. We should have enough mana to play it next turn. Like, I can definitely see an argument to not playing it. Because opponent just has, full knowledge on what's going on now. But if we do pick up something like a... Ravoon, I want to be able to play all the cards on this turn. Meh. Alright, so he's gonna get a good darkness somewhere. Withering Whale, even worse. Okay. Yeah, that one's on me. If we didn't have to fight through that extra set of darknesses, we had to deal with an extra 2 darknesses there because of the Senna. I think we would have been completely fine. And so, well, whoopsies. You learn from my mistakes. You'll be doing better for it. All right, on to the old Trundlemere. Reasonable enough start. Got some big friends out here ready to battle. Drop our boy Legion Rearguard. He says, "You can't quiet me today, friend. No quietuses." I read the text on the card, and that's not how it works. Best card in the game, right there, Legion Rearguard. You heard it here first. Heard it here last. Heard it here for the past 2 years. Troll Scavenger. Oh, he did hit the boost on him. Slightly awkward.
Explosives primed.
Now we hunt.
It's like the consideration is, do we want to put some damage onto this thing as it'll now die to Sun Guardian? But I don't think we want to lose the units, and we want to continue to just punch in the damage. And then his opponent has the opportunity to play cards like Avalanche. He might end up losing his own Scavenger along the way. Or if he comes in and blocks with the Sun Guardian, and then we get to drop Katarina and throw a spike at it. Got some opportunities to take it down that feel just a little bit better than ramming the Saboteur into it. Thinking real hard on this Vile Feast, though. What you got for us, my dude? Vile Feast, look, there it is. There it is. Alright, here come the attacks. Squad coming in.
Found you. There you are.
Interesting. So he leaves all of our units up. Would have to assume that AoE is incoming. We can kind of protect ourselves through a lot of things like Blighted Ravine if we do want to come in and just drop the Twilight Protector. I think we're probably safe just to drop in a Sun Guardian, and then we can look to make some bigger plays next turn with the Sunhawk and the Katarina. There's a lot of stats that we can pick up on our Sun Guardians if he gets too greedy with what he's doing. Yep. The other angle here would have been we could have played the Twilight Protector to take our Sun Guardian up to 3 health, but you don't really know what you're about to get yourselves into, right? If he was going to play Blighted Ravine, it wouldn't have looked as good. If he plays Avalanche, then the Twilight Protector would have looked better. Let's see what we can do here. Ideally, we can get a bunch of stats on board and actually get a good Katarina attack in. We have means to protect her with the Pale Cascade, so if he wants to play another Avalanche, we can try it that way. And then if we get into combat and he tries to hit her with a Flash Freeze or something, we can still activate that extra point of attack. So she gets Flash Frozen, and then we give her +1 attack. She gets to come back into hand. LOL. Good job, Cat. You battle academia at him real hard. He said, I went to school. I went to college. College academia, you know. Wrote all my papers with ChatGPT. That's one of the things I'm curious about how things happen in life in terms of higher education and ChatGPT. It's getting exceptionally good. It's churning out a lot of high quality papers. I've even started to use it at work. It's pretty cool. All right, though, back to the action. Enough about the Chat GPT. That's what we ought to start doing, is just typing in our questions to Chat GPT. What is the correct play? Should I lead off with Shield Bearer, Twilight Protector, or who? What do I do, Chat GPT? I need your AI strength to teach me the games of Runeterra.
Wondrous discoveries await below.
It's interesting, though. I'm curious how well something like ChatGPT could get at playing games like Runeterra. Just as games like Google with DeepMind, I believe they called it, a very interesting set that they had with in the game Go. I don't really follow the game Go, but Google was able to basically just best the best in the world. It's one of those things as to where you have games of perfect information like Go and chess, and that's where it tends to be stronger. I don't think the guy in his battles with Deep Blue or Deep Mind, Hive Mind, whatever whatever the GoBot was from Google, was putting the anal jigglers in to signal in the plays, but you never know. It's one of the wildest things I've ever heard. If you're not familiar, allegedly, in in-person tournaments, there is a player alleged to have put in a sex device into his butt area, and then was using it to receive signals on plays. And so, it's the world we live in, man. Give me the two sharp buzzes to let me know when to make the big play. That was what was kind of interesting to me, is like they weren't really signaling plays, or allegedly signaling plays, you should say. They were basically saying, you know, hey, stop and pay a whole lot of attention on this board. This is the critical turn of the game, and you need to make sure that you make the right move on this turn, or everything falls from this point. And it's kind of interesting. That was the takeaway from it, was hey, stop and pay attention right here, right now. But here, this seems to be going okay for us. Opponent keeps trying to put like points of damage onto our Sun Guardian, and then we just keep growing it and growing it. I'm curious what that last source of damage is in his hand, if he starts, playing Vile Feasts onto the Sun Guardian. Or, I mean, I guess he might just want the blocker. He might just want the summon, but it seems like he's... Oh, Jesus. He has some sort of... Really? God damn it. What an insane hit with the Keeper boosting everything.
Okay, ready.
So I'm fine to trade Rearguard into Spiderling. That's okay. His blocks onto the Twilight Protector and the Catalyzer only get the trades out of on his thing. Okay, this is fine. I think we just have to leave the Sun Guardian at home. It's still got some juice in the tank. This is one of these turns where we would love to just slam everything in and hit for like 6 damage. Kill off half of his board and then start being ready with decimates, but we're too far away from that kind of thing. He's definitely getting a summoned unit next turn off of the Redeemed Prodigy. Just bonkers hit. But these start to be the kind of games where I was mentioning at the very beginning as to where I like the idea of just the Daybreak Invoke guy as a way to come in and just kind of pick up an expensive spell. This is the kind of space to where we'd be looking for that. Katarina was a fantastic draw, but a lot of the top end in this deck is just limited to like Ravoon and Katarina. Like even drawing Leona at this stage isn't mega exciting, and so just being able to put that unit on the board, activate a Daybreak, pick up a Obliterate, or pick up a 2-for-1 removal, or pick up a Golden Sister. I was really just kind of excited about that, as to where, like, say on this active turn, if we draw a Twilight Protector, it's kind of okay, but like the Twilight Protectors are kind of what I'm flip-flopping around on with the last couple of spaces in the deck here, so it's interesting. Sure. It's already made his attack for the round. He's been kind of like camping on this 6 mana as well. I don't feel, super confident that Katarina's gonna be long for the world, but if she makes it for a strike, then this game's gonna be done. Okay. It's actually a pretty decent hit for us with him getting stuck with the Warlord's Palace on board, only letting him have 5 units at a time. You can't overwrite it, but it interacts positively with a lot of the weird stuff that his deck does. Positively for us, I should say. Alright, so he gets the Nora flip. We haven't been able to deal with her all game. Not surprising, we don't play a ton of interactivity, but let's see what we can do from here. We can definitely get a full board. We can get this big old stack of friends. Get 1 stun on this turn. Should be stunning the Vagabond. And this is, again, where you really like to have those rallies. He's in a... It's like we roll into next turn and he has another portal generator card draw thing and he gets to refill the board. It's really tough for us to slam in that last of the damage, but we're getting close. We're getting close. Drop in that darkness. The like real downside for the turn is we can't threaten a ton of damage. Like I'm sure we'll hit with the Sun Guardians, he'll block with the Redeemed Prodigy and block with the Weirding Stones, but we're kind of far away from the lethals. He can pretty safely take 8 damage on the round and not be upset about it. Even the block with Vagar is good. Just take it. Take it all. Take it all. Interesting. I wonder if he has another Nora in hand, or if he's just really excited about trying to darkness kill the Ravoon. It's interesting that he throws away Nora right after she flipped. Really, this is very strange. What are you doing? I don't know, man. The sequencing of this choice of spells has just been so strange this game.
Be a long night.
The AoE from Des and Ada. It's going to be a 4 damage AoE. That makes a little sense. So how do we want to go about this? We have access to the Meteor Shower that we can use to kill both the 3-1 and the Vagar, or do we want to just go big with the Traveler? And I kind of feel like we're at a place to where we might just need to hit with the Traveler. Like, killing off Vagar is nice, but it doesn't do a ton in terms of finishing off the game. Like, it is nice to kill these units, yes, but opponent is still going to be able to refill the board and just block everything that we're doing. I think we need to just find some high-quality big boys here. The Destroyer was kind of what I had in mind, but I was hoping for something a little bit bigger. I'm just going to go with the Golden Sister. See if we can't use it to punch in some elusive.
Punch it.
This is positive. All right, what you got for us, Deck? We gotta get something big here. Solari Soldier was not the big we were looking for. Probably just Dunzos here, but let's drop the Golden Sister, see if we can't make something happen.
What once was two, now is one.
Gives the darkness onto the Silver Sister. I mean, that's probably actually positive for us if we were getting, kind of close to darkness range here. Darkness to the face range, I should say. Okay.
Trust your heart. Do it.
Alrighty. See if we can't just get like one big turn in, another like shot from Ravoon, and then a burn spell might be enough. Our chances of this game are pretty low, but there is a chance, there is a shot. Oh, that was horrible. We should have just killed the Vagar, right? We should have Nox and Fervent into the Vagar. I kind of started mentally moving on to the next game, and that was definitely a mistake to leave that up.
Scattered to its elements, even us.
Well, maybe it's going to work out here. Let's be real. This game's done. Okay, on to the next one. And so that was tough. Like, as you play against decks like that, it most certainly it exactly points out the strategy that we need to try and pull off, right? The key card that we have in this matchup is the Katarina, and if we're not getting access to those rallies, the opponent just gets to come in and summon a bunch of dudes to the board and not really care about how big our giant guys are, because they're just going to have a full board every turn of the game. So did get RNG to touch in there, but losing out on the Katarina is usually pretty devastating, and that's what happened to us at the end of the day. But not a bad set. It like makes me still like question a little bit if we want to get like that little touch of value in here in the Daybreak invoke thing. And it definitely really like solidifies my happiness in playing 3 copies of Ravoon. You do see a lot of these decks that aren't packing the full 3 copies, and I disagree. It does make you kind of like wander towards other decks, though. If you want to say like look towards a Winding Light version, the Winding Light decks get their overwhelm on the board. They don't have to count. Excuse me. They don't have to count on Katarina getting the strike in, but Katarina is just like such a super high powered unit compared to those other ones that I definitely see the argument for the high risk, high reward versus the kind of safer plays. All right, same as the other game against the Jinx deck. I'm fine to come in and get these early trades. It would be ideal if we could, survive some of that combat, but we got his board cleared out. We got the bonus. You want to be discarding that spear. We got the spear out of his hand as well. It was a pretty reasonable collection of cards for us. I was happy with how that went. All right, I think we want to drop the Sunhawks here. They're pretty good in the face of all of the 2/1 and style units that this deck typically puts on the board, and hopefully we can save our Twilight Protector for a bigger boost, so it's boosting more than just one unit.
Well, this isn't the glade.
Okay. See if he has to physically play the Flame Chompers. If he has to play it, then we can bring in the stun onto Lulu. It sucks a little bit in that we would, like to get Ravoon going on this turn, but not a big fan of that Flame Chomper 4/4 attack coming in. His attacks here are all booty. He's playing the Scuttler just to get that point of mana. Ooh, and a Sunburst.
Made to be broken.
Interesting.
Our people.
You won't get past me.
Yeah, an even bigger weapon.
So you're really emptying out the Jinx? Wow.
Ready. Devotion to battle.
Wowzers. I mean, it seemed like he was dropping those cards so we could bring in a Get Excited right now, but... Alright, you dead, though. He went a little too greedy. A little too greedy. Let's see what he does. If he adds a unit, I think we'll try and Sunburst through, but... Looks like he's just bringing the heat. Bringing the thunder. So the only thing I'll say with this combat is I don't want to say put Ravoon in front of Jinx. Just if opponent has any burn spells in hand and gets to take down the Ravoon for free in combat, that feels pretty horrible. Whereas this way, like, he's probably getting the Death Rocket. The Death Rocket probably kills Ravoon, but you don't want to just give that to him for free. At least this way we get to take the Lulu off of the board. Yep, there's the Get Excited. And victory will be ours. Short moment away. You got your burn spells, bro. I got my burn spells. Everybody's got them. Everybody's got a burn spell today. Go ahead and mark that a victory for Bust. Mark it. Get some of that Red Bull flavor. And soak in the Rage Quit. Go ahead and drop a GG 2022 on him. So, man, I hope you all are getting some good football today. I'm excited. All of the teams that I like to follow are in the playoffs this year, and so I'm of course a big Chiefs fan. That's what you get to be out in Kansas City. They got a bye this week, so it's pretty boring. They made the top cut at the number 1 seed, so they don't have to play this week. My best friend in West Virginia, he's a 49ers fan. We get to watch them play today. I'm hoping for that 49ers Chiefs Super Bowl again. We got to have that 3 years ago or so. Not fun. Nothing was fun about that game. It's just like, that the mountain of shit talk whoever wins the game, whoever's team wins the game is going to talk for the remainder of their lives is so high that it was just ultra stressful. And now that we've got the one, that's all that matters, right? We could lose like the next 4. and we got the one that the first one. And you can always say, well, we got that one. But cheering for the 49ers today. Tomorrow we'll have the Buffalo Bills playing. I was a Buffalo Bills fan growing up. I had my copy of Tecmo Super Bowl. They were the best team on the game, and I chose them to be my team based on the strength they were in the video game, and then they immediately sucked for the next 20 years. And so it's nice to get to cheer for them a little bit. And then I also like to cheer for Tom Brady. Tom Brady plays on Monday night. His offensive coordinator went to Marshall. We got a Marshall shirt on today, and so we like to cheer for old Byron as well. And it's nice that they all made it. You know, I don't want to go and watch the Eagles. Nobody cares about the Eagles. Nobody wants to watch the Pittsburgh Steelers. Get that nonsense out of here. And so get to watch the teams that I want to see. Also, I don't think I'll get to watch it. It's a little bit too much football to also fit in the Chargers versus the Jaguars. I hope the Jaguars annihilate the Chargers. I do not like the Chargers whatsoever. So love to see them take the loss. All right, football aside, back into the battles. Let's see what we can do here. Reasonable enough Daybreak start. I'll still add the Saboteur to the board, although this is the one that is, at risk right now. He did just play the Conchologist, so he should be kind of loaded up on Quietus and Group Shot and Pokey Sticks and all that, but we gotta try and fish out this damage if we can. Sunhawk looks pretty decent here. Poked him. If we get in a 7 hit with 7 burn in hand, gets us pretty close to the lethals.
Give me your malice, creatures of doom! I will drink your darkness!
All right, gotta find ourselves something to do on this upcoming turn. Will be slightly disastrous if we just have to bank through all of this mana. Katarina was perfect. Okay. No complaints here. Again, this is a spot she may survive. She may make it. I'm not really counting on it. But he can't like double spell her at this point. We get the Blade's Edge into the Conchologist, which is great. Bouncing Bomb, sure. But at least we had a play. All right, Ravoon, it's time for you. It's nice pulling up the additional Katarinas, but the Ravoon should be fairly tough for him to deal with here.
I dropped everything.
You got our Decimate, bro. I'm going to send everybody. If he wants to take this full-on 5-hit, by all means, get your extra value in. But this is what I thought was going to happen. I figured he would probably prevent the damage. Even seeing the Decimate go away, you still got to worry about the burn that we can bring, especially as a lot of people play stuff like Reveler's Feast. It's very easy to have a kind of odd set of removal. All right, well, we've got a lot of big boys on board. We get to kind of lead out with the Stellacorn. Let's see if we can't bait something into damage before Katarina comes on board. Of course, they immediately hit the portal. That's the that's the world we live in these days. I'd love to see him spend some mana. Nope. All right, well, if he has to spend 6 mana on Katarina, it still feels like it's probably a pretty big win for us. Or even a 4 mana, like, double spell into Katarina seems pretty good. Just gotta get a little bit more damage in. That was interesting, right? I just assumed that she was dead. turns out she still has a point of health, and so maybe he doesn't have an additional way. Maybe he was just digging. But all right, let's see. Let's see. Can't feel good, right? Can't feel good having that Katarina come in. You just know the game is probably done if she does. Oh, wow. Going for the full damage prevent. Okay. It's
Never know what killed them.
many dangers. Many dangers. What do we got? I mean, we got 9 mana for the turn. I have to imagine we want to play the Sunhawk and Katarina. I was hoping to get to order them a little bit better. I don't want to drop the Sunhawk and just have it hit the Conchologist, but I mean, if he didn't have a cat answer for cat last turn, he probably doesn't have one this turn either. And if we get to Blade's Edge down the Conchologist, just stun literally anything, then we're right there at lethal as well. Think we're doing it, fam. Ravoon providing us with the beautiful daylights. And there we go. G. All right, next battle. So what do we got? The old pirates. I haven't seen you guys in ages. Misplay and misfortune, man. And so here, this is actually a space to where I could see moving away from the Legion Saboteur, but I feel like if we play the Saboteur on turn 1 and get to trade it away and get the point of damage in, and then on turn 2 we shut down everything they're doing with the Solari Soldier, that's going to leave us in a, in a pretty decent spot. We got this really nice growing style hand here, so hopefully we can cause him some problems with our larger units. The way that pirates are going to get their advantage on us is playing something like a Mirai Warden and getting 2 units and getting the 2-for-1s from the multiple summons. And we can kind of counteract that by just playing bigger units, right? We should be able to play the Solari Soldier here. He's probably not going to get good attacks. And so we're just looking to, not get 2-for-1'd out here. And so now if we can drop in Sun Guardian, then boost the Crimson Pigeon, attack with 2 3/3s, should be tough for him to get good blocks out here. The thing I don't want to do is trade our Solari Soldier for one of his units, because he's just going to refill the board much easier than we can, right? We want to take advantage of the game rules in that he can't have more than 6 units, and then we could just try and stack in our bigger ones. But interesting block. I'm curious to see if we get rain made on us, or if he has the misfortune. He has the misfortune. That's okay. We're going to get to do some growing here, and we can interact if we want with this Pale Cascade now. So I think I'm on board.
Okay, ready. Get guilty with Ben.
Are we willing to just take 3 and then keep all of our good units? I think that looks good. I think we're going to start to take over on this one. Right, we're at a pretty healthy life total. I don't think we need to go into the full damage prevention mode here. You guys get to pick up an expensive spell though, which a little scary. Not big scary, just a little scary. Till it hits, and then it's big scary, right? All right, Ravoon comes in though. He's ready to party. He's a big boy.
War Mason, reporting for duty. The few for the many.
Alright, I don't suspect he's ever going to block with his Misfortune. So we should have a safe attack with the Sunhawk. And then if he does want to block with Misfortune, she's probably going in front of the Sun Guardian. And so I think this is another spot where we should send everybody in. Got this Pale Cascade in front of the Misfortune now. Hopefully that gets us a nice advantage. But opponent having no board here, just fantastic for us. Even if at the end of the day he has something to win the combat and we still just have Ravoon and the bird against his nothing. Great place to be. Great spot. Aww. That's kind of sad. I was really hoping to get to draw the card off the Pale Cascade. Alright, well you get to stick around, Sun Guardian. You're out here boosting and boosting and boosting and getting all the big stats. I can't let you go away that easy.
Ours is the one true light.
Your attacks suck now. What a fun spot to be in. Your attacks are booty. I think I do want to go ahead and drop in the soldier. Like I'm looking at this board and thinking it's a fairly decent place to just open attack next turn, and we can look to like protect Ravoon with the Nox and Fervor. The way that this is kind of meh is if he comes in and has a, or if we draw Leona and we don't get to do any of the Leona shenanigans. That's where we're not going to feel great. Yeah, if we're only dealing 4 damage, let's protect one of our bigger boys. Maybe we shouldn't have sent all these units in and just stalled a little bit, but opponent's doing a pretty good job of keeping everything or keeping ahead in cards. Drawing the 1-cost card off Ravoon kind of sucked. Right, I'm going to protect our Sun Guardian. 2 things here. It's like if we go for the Nox and Fervor onto the Tentacle, then he has another Eye of Nagakaboros. Game's just done. We lose that game 100% of the time. And the Sun Guardian is what is kind of keeping us in terms of it gets to come out and grow the stats over and over again. Who's he even fervoring from? To where all the board just dies. What the hell? Oh, okay. He blew up our unit at the end. I gotcha. And then our fervor still targets our own unit. That kind of sucked. Gotta draw something expensive. This is one of these games to where we haven't drawn any Katarinas and haven't drawn any Leonas. They do fantastic work at Vanguard's Edge. Okay. Maybe we just shouldn't have been attacking with our good units last turn. And then use that as a means to just try and stall into our good cards. Right? Our late game should be better than the opponent's late game. Just we are still so far away from lethal. This is pretty brutal. I would assume that he has at least like 1 decimate in hand at this point. Yeah, he's probably just gonna blow us up.
I have my orders.
You got it. So that feels like it should be a pretty decent matchup, but I don't entirely like how we played that one. I think we got a little bit too aggressive there at the end. And we should have just tried to stall a little bit. I was thinking in that game, in the earlier game, have we actually even drawn Leona today? We've drawn her once, and we took that game handily, but it's been tough otherwise. All right, here's a big collection of aggro friends. 100% tell you what this game's going to come down to. We're going to play Crimson Pigeon on the first turn, and if he doesn't have Quietus, I bet we win, and if he has Quietus, I bet we lose. Place your bets. Place him. Put him on the board.
Only I can command darkness. Only I.
My faith protects me.
All right. Well, so far so good. We get more damage on board going with the Sunhawk here, so I'm going to leave the Sun Guardian at home. We get the shutdown on the Catalyzer. We can still add in a Crimson Pigeon. Have a pretty good set of attacks this round. Now he's got to quiet us. Okay. So let's just put the damage on the Shield Bearer. No reason to weaken up the Sunhawk and have two health units. He's gonna block the biggest boy. That was fast. Phew. Must be nice, man. Must be nice. I wonder what it feels like to be so lucky. As I've been talking about recently, our foray into the world of competitive lottery ticket buying. I did not win $1 billion playing the Mega Millions this week, and it's sad. It's a little sad, you know. I felt like we gave it our all. We played as hard as we could, and we still weren't able to achieve the streak that we needed to close out the millions of dollars that we could win. But here, let's not just put out the 1 health rear guard. He's going to get a good block with the Spiderling if we end up doing that. Let's spread it out now. And so, my major concern was that he had like another 1 damage card in hand, and we weakened up the rear guard, and then he just got a good hit in. But this looks okay. This looks good. Really good at hitting these units fast.
We made it. Yay.
Pretty good at it, bro. You just put a portal right on the top card every time. It makes him so much better. Phew.
Our sun will not set today.
So, are we going to add any of these units next turn? It's pretty tempting. If we're attacking, like if we get in for 6, it's still short of lethal. And I'm curious at what point opponent's able to really stop everything that we're doing. Now, Katarina really makes him respond. So let's do this. Let's add Saboteur. He's going to have to do something, right? He's going to have to invest something in the board. Ideally, he's going to be dropping in some kind of removal spell. That didn't go as planned. That didn't go as planned. We should have maybe thought that through a little bit better. It's like I don't want to add in... I was thinking that he was just going to play a burn and then we were going to replace the unit with Katarina, but makes sense for him to not be taking it that way.
Okay, ready.
And then it's like we don't really want to be playing Katarina this turn because it leaves her around too long to just eat up a bunch of removals. So probably just gonna decimate this turn.
Go away.
Of course. Of course. What more would one expect? What more would one expect given the way that these have gone? Like, I guess you got a portal in your deck, right? feels like you've hit literally every single one off the top card of your deck. It's just fucking insane. Alright, good job, guy. Good job. We at least still have a pretty reasonable board. I'm not crazy in saying that's insane, right? I feel like literally every single portal was immediately hit. Maybe I am crazy, I don't know. Call me maybe or something.
Anything can be scattered to its elements, even us.
4 damage darkness. Alright. How bad is this if we just pass? Maybe we can just pass here.
Through conflict, we grow.
There we go. That's what we were wanting to see, right? Is this too dangerous, sending this in on a 1 health unit? I think it's okay. If he has the removal spell for our snow hare, then at least the Ixtali doesn't get to deal damage this combat. We do lose our Ravoon, but the 4 heal does not happen. Oh, this thing draws cards too? What the fuck? Draw 1 and give it fleeting? Oh my god. What a day, fam. What a day. Ripperooski on Katarina. I feel you. Nope. Takes it back. Yep. Puts it forward. Nope. Takes it back. Yep. Sends it forward. Okay.
Life is cyclical. Darkness ends.
So I think we end up having to play the Sunforger next turn, right? Like, if we come into next turn, attack with everybody, and opponent has 1 removal spell, then we just lose the game. Oh, Nox and Fervor, though. I think the Nox and Fervor is still okay, right? The way that this is bad is if he gets like a 2-for-1 opportunity, right? If he gets Vile Feast is the perfect example. All right, well we gotta try it this way. We're short of lethal if this fails. I really wanted to be putting whatever the Ixtali blocks, then throw the Nox and Fervor at the face, but we still technically have a lethal.
Channel our power. Faces to the sun.
We want him to block our worst units. Get this Sunforger out of here after this turn. And a Vengeance. Okay. Make some sad noises with me. Make some sad noises. Brutal Skirmish, not what we were looking for. You would have been a lot better a long time ago. But, I mean, that game kind of is what it is. There's 2 things that tie into that one, and that we can talk about the second one a little bit more in Katarina and these matchups. But the RNG gods in that one were fucking absurd. Like, I know it wasn't like literally every single portal because we clicked on his deck at one point and there was a portal in it, but I feel like he immediately hit the portals over and over and over and over and over again, and that's the difference when your opponent's at 2. That's what you miss out on in terms of just having one of your 1-cost units punch in and close out the game. It's just, oh boy, you hit your portal and you got this 1/3 guy that's now capable of blocking our Legion Saboteur, and it's like it just builds up off of that. And so we did fuck things up in there a little bit. That Katarina turn, I'm not happy with how it went. We probably should have thought through that one a little bit more, but that game was a bit crazy. But the things to think about with this deck, though, I feel like if you're in this really heavy like Vagar meta, it's just there's so much Nora running around. I don't know why. I don't know if this was just a matter of what's popular right now this morning as we play a few games, or if that's what's really getting popular on the ladder. But we talk about this concept of having rallies or overwhelms, and you have to have them. Those games perfectly pictured exactly why you have to have it, as we played against the Nora deck like 3 or 4 times. And that style of game, to where they're able to take away your rally from you, it's just so much more painful. To where if you're playing with things like the Winding Light, and the Winding Light just gets to go LOL, everyone gets overwhelmed. Those games are much more freebies. And so it's tough to say particularly which version is better. The aggro draws out of this are just so super powerful. The high rolls are so high when it comes to just like playing triple one drops and crushing in, and your opponent just falling further and further behind and getting snowballed, and then being able to close out the games with the likes of Decimates and Nox and Fervors, so you don't even have to deal with combat, compared to those games to where you need to either hit your rally or overwhelm, and you just can't do it because your opponent's playing too many removal spells. And so I do want to come around and check out some of the other versions of this deck. We're most certainly going to be kind of investigating Leona over the next couple of videos, but I feel like it's going to just probably be a kind of a meta call, right? If you're seeing a lot of Shadow Isles, a lot of these kind of ping-based matchups, then you probably need to look towards the Winding Light. Or if you want to play, rallies out of a Demacia-based version, that's fine. Or if you want the just kind of like high-powered version, then you have this one. And while I do really like this deck, I like the Katarina ideas out of this deck, I feel like this is the version that was probably pretty good right as the patch came out, as you're getting to, kind of spew off with all of the really aggressive elements of the deck. But now that the meta has kind of like softened up a little bit, I feel like the kind of guaranteed methods in the Winding Lights or in the rallies are probably going to push ourselves a little bit further ahead. And I have to imagine that the Winding Light just comes in and kind of annihilates Nora. And so we'll see. But nonetheless, it's still a very powerful deck. I feel like the games that we won them pretty handily. I feel like the games that we lost, there was a lot of asterisks in those between a few poor plays and a few bits of rough RNG. And so it certainly has the power and the tools that you need to carry on and be a serious ladder contender. And so that's going to do it for us today. Good stuff. I had fun with that. I hope you did too, because that will do it for us today. And so I hope everyone enjoyed the video. Hope you maybe learned a thing or two along the way and had a good time watching. So this is Bust, and we thank you for being here.